Good morning. Welcome to chapel. The sun is, I think, still shining, and temperatures are finally, we've hit above zero, so that's great. And so we are thrilled to be gathering, and we are thrilled for you to be with us. Know that you are welcome here today and always, whoever you are, whoever you know yourself to be, whoever you are becoming. Special welcome today to those who are on campus for this week's Board of Regents meeting. Special blessings on all the many and various things that are in your conversations this week as you help us continue to discern who we are as Luther College in this day and this age and this time and this place. You're cordially invited and reminded that you are always invited to join us during chapel break every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The weather is looking good on Monday for fika outside, so stop by our table, join us for treats and coffee. Then I have two reminders for upcoming events that have signs on top of the hymn rack. So I encourage you to check those signs out for more information. But remember that this Monday evening is our service of belonging, and that we have our upcoming college Ministries retreat coming up in just a couple weeks, and that's in partnership with Wartburg College and Augustana College. Information about Service of Belonging and retreat are on the hymn rack. Take a look at that info. If you have any questions, get in touch with us. For chapel today, you will need a red hymnal for our opening hymn, and then we are excited to welcome Collegiate Chorale as our first choir in chapel this semester. It has been too long, my friends, and they will be offering an anthem following our reflection today. We're pleased to welcome Shayla Van Hal as our organist today, and to welcome as our chapel speaker Paul Hemenway, who comes to us from his new role in the Career Center. So thank you to all of you for sharing your gifts with us. This semester, we continue to reflect on what it means to let love be genuine, according to the Apostle Paul's words in Romans 12, which urge us to hate what is evil, to hold fast to what is good, to love one another with mutual affection, to outdo one another in showing honor, to be ardent in spirit, to rejoice in hope, to be patient in affliction, to persevere in prayer, to pursue hospitality to strangers, to bless those who persecute us, to rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep, to live in harmony with one another, to take thought for what is noble in the sight of all, and if it is possible, so far as it depends on us, to live peaceably with all. Again, welcome today to chapel. I invite you, as you are comfortable and able, to stand as we get grounded and centered for worship. Whatever else it is you have been carrying to this point here at the end of the week, I invite you to just take a moment to set that down, to relax your body, to feel the ground beneath your feet as it supports you, to take a deep breath, and to feel the stillness around you. We gather today in the name of the God of love, who grants us the power to be gentle, the strength to be forgiving, the patience to be understanding, and the endurance to accept the consequences of holding to what is honorable, charitable, and true. Teach us to build bridges, to cross divisions, and to listen for understanding. Let divine peace rule in our hearts so that we may not be overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. Amen. Our opening song is number 721 in your hymnal, Goodness is Stronger Than Evil, number 721, and we will sing this through 2 times.
Good morning, all. Thank you so much for taking the time, whether it be this morning or another time on YouTube, to gather together in worship. As Pastor Bill's mentioned, my name is Paul Hemenway, and recently transferred to the Career Center here at Luther, and excited to continue serving the students, staff, faculty, and Luther community in that position. I was born and raised last millennia in Rochester, Minnesota, as an only child, and ever since then, part of my life's work has been to learn how to play nicely with others in the sandbox. You can also imagine that the first weekend of my college experience was a very interesting one. Having been the only child of parents who were public school teachers and were typically in bed by 9 o'clock, I didn't sleep much that first weekend. But I survived, and I have learned to share sleeping space with others, which my wife and dogs are grateful for. Beginning my sophomore year, I served as well on a campus organization leadership team with all women. Then, I continued to get to know strong, passionate, caring, and outspoken fellow students from other places, such as Detroit, Chicago, and around the world. And then there were Green Bay Packer fans. During my sophomore year, I realized that I was having some angst, partly because my Minnesota Vikings have never won a Super Bowl, but mostly because I realized that I thought everyone viewed the world the same as me, and that if they didn't, that they would soon realize that it'd be better if they did. However, I came to realize that neither of these things were true. When Jesus says, "Follow me," the call isn't an invitation made in a vacuum. It's a call made in the reality of life where we are. During that sophomore year, it became evident to me that one way this call was challenging me was to learn and to live with people who thought and believed and acted differently than I. This is probably at least part of the reason why, when I saw the passage for this semester in chapel, that I was drawn to Paul's words to live in harmony together. Another reason is probably because my family and I live in Harmony, Minnesota, which is a daily reminder of my opportunities for growth. As we look at the book of Romans, which is Paul's letter to the church in Rome, we see a community that included some folks who grew up Jewish, others who grew up Roman. Rome invaded and conquered the homeland of the Jews, and now they were literally sitting in the same church. Conqueror and conquered, oppressor and oppressed, a diverse, countercultural community celebrating and learning together how to live out the good news of Jesus. As one can imagine, their reality presented significant tension and conflict. After spending the first half of his letter to the Romans talking about the good news of Jesus, Paul, as he usually did, got practical and maybe even personal, and, as he usually did, probably uncomfortably personal. Because of the good news of Jesus, Paul called the Roman church to love one another with mutual affection and to live in harmony with one another. So the question for us is, what does it look like to pursue loving one another with mutual affection and living in harmony? Since my time as a student and then a staff with InterVarsity Christian Fellowship at Christian College Campus Ministry, then moving into being married and having children and dogs and all that life brings, there's an image that's been helpful for me to remember of what it looks like to seek to live in harmony. You have copies of it on your chair. First developed by author Dwayne Elmer in his book Cross-Cultural Connections, the Approaching Differences diagram has helped myself and thousands of others to learn to live together and to walk through life deciding to green light and to connect with one another. I want to take a moment to take a look at the diagram with you real briefly. The reality is that as we go through life, we are always going to be experiencing cultural differences. Some of them are insignificant to many, Packers and Vikings. Others are more significant, the ways that we view the world and politics and what is right and what is wrong. The reality is that we experience dissonance during those times. That's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just a part of sharing life with other people. And in a sense, it can be a gift to us because it's both an opportunity for us to learn from others, for others to learn from us, and for us to learn about ourselves. And so this diagram highlights that as we engage those differences and that dissonance, the call of the green line is to continue to be curious, to ask questions, to seek to understand. What happens as we do that is that we grow deep relationships that aren't always easy, but they are rich and they are full. Another choice as we engage that dissonance is to redline, to be critical, to separate ourselves, to judge others. And unfortunately, that leads to broken relationships. The great news is that any relationship can be healed. And so if you find yourself redlining, which I have done, and if you ask my family, I continue to do at times, even those relationships that are in the red line can move to the green as we seek to understand, to ask questions, to ask for forgiveness, to encourage others to tell us more about their experience and what life is like for them. So my hope for us as the community of Luther is that we would choose the road of green lights, that living in ever-deepening relationships as we engage the realities of life together, we won't get it right every time, but we have the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to seek the best for each other every time we interact. My hope and prayer is that we love one another with mutual affection and live in harmony together. Amen.
The poet Javier Zamora was born in 1990 in El Salvador, where civil war raged from about 1980 to 1992. A year after his birth, his father fled to the United States, joined by Javier's mother when he was 5 years old. Zamora was left to be raised by his grandmother, or abuelita. At 9 years old, he made the gruesome trek across multiple borders to be reunited with his parents. His memoir, Solito, was the Paideia Summer Read in 2023, the summer I and the rest of the sophomore class prepared to become students at Luther College. Collegiate Chorale will sing a setting of Zamora's poem, Abuelita Says Goodbye, by composer Eric Tuan, a third-generation American of Chinese, Japanese, and Filipino descent.
And now may the God of all grace, who has called you into beloved community, support you and make you strong now and always. Go in peace, love one another. Thanks be to God.